Coronation Street's Sarah Platt forgets her daughter Bethany's birthday next week, as she continues to battle with the aftermath of Jody Ramsey's brutal attack on her. After Jody struck her on the head on the night of Carla and Lisa Connor Swain's wedding, Sarah has been struggling mentally and has even turned to alcohol to cope. Concern is spreading over Sarah's out-of-character behavior, and at the salon next week, Maria Connor reveals that a foggy-headed Sarah has forgotten her own daughter Bethany's birthday. However, when Maria's husband Gary Windass leaps to his ex's defense, Maria is mortified. Maria is totally taken aback by how defensive Gary gets over Sarah, explains our Kabul spy. She already has her suspicions about them, and it wouldn't be the first time that Maria has accused the old flames of having an affair. If confronted again, Gary is likely to protest that he's just being a good friend to poor Sarah during a really tough time. It's not like her to forget Bethany's birthday. Later, the Platts gather at the bistro for Bethany's birthday meal, but the celebratory mood rapidly turns sour when Jody arrives. Jody can't resist making barbed remarks about Theo Silverton's murder case, which is the last thing that anyone wants to talk about on what's supposed to be a happy occasion. Will Jody's actions on that fateful evening ever come to light? And is she playing with fire by drawing so much attention to herself? Viewers have seen Sarah's troubles play out over the past few weeks. She has already been put on lighter duties at work, as concerned Carla gave one of her projects to Michael Bailey since she didn't seem like her usual self. In Thursday's episode, there's another twist when Sarah sneaks into the Platt house to have a secretive phone conversation with Gary, which Jody overhears. "Gary, listen to me, I promise you, you're not on your own with this, okay?" Sarah explains. "You've always got me." But what is she referring to? In upcoming Coronation Street drama, tension is set to escalate in Weatherfield as Sarah Platt finds herself pulled into yet another emotional storm, this time sparked by a troubling new chapter in Bethany Platt's already turbulent life. What begins as concern quickly develops into something far more serious, leaving Sarah increasingly alarmed as she tries to hold her family together while everything threatens to spiral out of control once again. At the heart of the storyline is Coronation Street fan favorite Sarah Platt, whose protective instincts are about to be pushed to breaking point. Sarah has always carried the weight of responsibility within the Platt family, often acting as the emotional anchor when chaos erupts around her. But this time, even she may struggle to stay in control as worrying signs emerge around her daughter, Bethany. Bethany Platt, played as one of Weatherfield's most layered and complex young characters, has never had an easy path. Years of manipulation, trauma, and personal setbacks have shaped her into someone constantly fighting to rebuild her life. Now, just as she begins to find some sense of stability, a new situation threatens to undo everything she has worked for. Those close to her begin to notice subtle but unsettling changes, withdrawal, secrecy, and emotional distance that Sarah cannot ignore. Sarah's concern is first triggered by small inconsistencies. Bethany starts missing planned meetings, responding late to messages, and giving vague explanations that don't quite add up. At first, Sarah tries to dismiss it as stress or overwork, but her instincts as a mother tell her something deeper is going on. The more she probes, the more defensive Bethany becomes, widening the emotional gap between them. As the storyline unfolds, Sarah begins to confide in close family members, seeking reassurance that she is not overreacting. But instead of comfort, she finds growing unease mirrored in others' observations. There are whispers that Bethany may be getting involved in something she doesn't fully understand, something that could put her career, relationships, and mental well-being at risk. What makes the situation even more intense is Sarah's own history of crisis management within the Platt household. Having weathered countless scandals, betrayals, and near tragedies, she is no stranger to alarm bells ringing in Weatherfield. Yet this time feels different. The uncertainty surrounding Bethany is more subtle, more psychological, and far harder to pin down. Drama escalates when Sarah begins to uncover hints that Bethany may be entangled with the wrong crowd again, or possibly being influenced by someone with hidden motives. Whether it's a toxic relationship, workplace pressure, or an online situation that has spiraled beyond control, the writers are deliberately keeping the truth just out of reach, heightening suspense as viewers are left guessing what is really happening behind closed doors. As paranoia grows, Sarah's protective instincts begin to clash with Bethany's need for independence. Bethany insists she is fine, pushing back against her mother's questions and accusing Sarah of interfering. This emotional tug-of-war creates a deeply relatable conflict, a mother trying to protect her daughter, and a young woman determined to prove she can handle her own life. However, Sarah's concern is not unfounded. Small clues begin to suggest that Bethany may be hiding something significant. A mysterious phone call she refuses to explain. A sudden change in spending habits. A new connection she seems reluctant to discuss. Each detail adds another layer of tension, slowly building toward a revelation that could shake the Platt family once again. Friends of the family begin to notice Sarah's growing anxiety. She becomes distracted, hypervigilant, and increasingly convinced that something bad is coming. Her relationships outside the immediate crisis begin to suffer as she focuses all her energy on Bethany, determined not to let history repeat itself. The fear of what happened before hangs heavily over every interaction, even if it is never directly spoken aloud. Meanwhile, Bethany's storyline continues to darken in subtle but significant ways. She appears caught between two versions of herself, the confident young woman she wants to be, and the vulnerable individual slipping into a situation she cannot fully control. Whether she realizes the danger she is in remains unclear, adding further emotional weight to every scene she appears in. The writers of Coronation Street are known for weaving long-running psychological tension into their character arcs, and this storyline is shaping up to be a classic example. Rather than relying on explosive action, the drama builds through suspicion, emotional conflict, and the slow erosion of trust between a mother and daughter who once understood each other completely. Sarah's breaking point comes closer as she discovers something that cannot be easily explained away, an encounter, message, or situation that confirms her fears are not just paranoia. At this stage, her concern turns into urgency. She begins to take more direct action, determined to intervene before Bethany ends up in serious trouble. But intervention in Weatherfield rarely goes smoothly. Bethany, feeling cornered, may react unpredictably. Her resistance could push her further into the very situation Sarah is trying to pull her out of. The emotional stakes rise as both characters dig in, one driven by fear, the other by a desperate need for autonomy. The result is a fractured relationship that risks breaking at its core. As viewers watch the tension unfold, the central question becomes whether Sarah can reach Bethany in time, or whether her attempts to protect her will accidentally push her further away. The storyline explores the fine line between care and control, highlighting how easily love can become conflict when fear takes over. In true soap fashion, nothing is straightforward. Allies may not be trustworthy, assumptions may prove wrong, and the truth behind Bethany's situation is likely to be more complicated than anyone expects. The Platts have survived countless storms before, but this one feels uniquely psychological, rooted not just in external danger, but in internal emotional fractures that are far harder to repair. With Sarah growing increasingly alarmed and Bethany standing on uncertain ground, Weatherfield is set for another gripping chapter of family drama. And as always in Coronation Street, the truth, when it finally emerges, will change everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crown ST.